Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 3rd Town Council meeting for Bladensburg. We are now called to order. As we transition to the opening prayer, which will be led by Councilmember McBride, I would just ask if we could observe a moment of silence following that. As some of you may have seen from our communications over the last few weeks, we lost a true Bladensburg champion in David C. Harrington, who was our first African-American mayor. And so just would want to pause to reflect, and for those who pray, just lift up his family who are going through a tremendous loss right now. Councilmember McBride.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for everyone that's been allowed to assemble on Zoom today, even with the difficulties. God, we give you praise and we give you glory. We thank you for those that have been able to come on today. And we ask you to bless the bereaved families on today, Father. We know they're hurting, but God, there is no hurt that you are unable to heal. And we ask that you touch them and bless them in days to come. We ask that you bless the council. Help us, Father, because there's a great task ahead of us. And there are many people that are relying upon us, but help us to be able to do the work that we've been assigned to do. We ask you to bless our police chief and all the police officers. Bless everyone within the town of Bladensburg and wherever. Father, we need you in these days. We ask you to bless those that have been in the floods and have lost not only their lives, but have lost their possessions. We ask you to help us because we are in need. We are in need of you. And we're in need of strength. We're in need of love. We're in need of unity. We're in need of peace and joy. God, I ask you to bless us all. Bless us all together lovely. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
We could have a moment of silence. Amen.
Thank you for that prayer, Councilmember McBride. Truly appreciate it. And for the observance of a moment of silence. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Councilmember Brown to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Amen.
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Brown. At this time, I would ask the council for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Seconded by Councilmember Rao. Any corrections, edits, or revisions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you. At this time, we are into appearances. And I'm wondering, so there are two individuals who are supposed to join us tonight. Oh, I do see Mr. Sheikh. So Mr. Muhammad Sheikh, who is a proud Bladensburg resident, just happens to work for Maryland National Capital Park and Planning. And he is responsible for community outreach. And so given he lives in our community, it just seemed like a natural opportunity to have him come and talk to us about the wonderful initiatives that they have going on in an effort to educate the residents about what is happening with park and planning programs. And so at this time, I would like to turn it over to Mohammed. Welcome.
Hello, welcome everyone. I don't have too much to share. This is the first time I've been present in one of these meetings. And so I can share a few links of the calendar of all the events that we hold. And a registration form for signing up for our e-newsletter to stay updated on changes Just like this past weekend, a lot of our events were canceled due to the weather. And so you'll be able to be updated whenever any changes occur. But yeah, I'd like to more so get a feel for how these meetings go. So yeah, I'll share those links in the chat. But thank you
And
for reminding.
yes, thank you for joining us tonight. And if you email those over to us, we can include them in the weekly e-blast. But I also noticed at the African Heritage Festival, when you guys were tabling there, that there was a senior biking program, and there were representatives from that group. Are there any other programs similar to that that we can make the residents aware of that are engaging for, specific demographics of the community?
That program is primarily for biking. There are other information on activity centers that we have in the area. So I can share that information.
Great, thank you so much. So we'll look forward to getting that for you. But again, thank you for joining, and we'll make sure we communicate those details out to our residents. And you're welcome to stay on, or if you have to cut out, we totally understand. No, it's a late, rainy evening. Councilmember Rout, I see your hand.
Yes. I would like to follow up about, there's a park in our community that's not well lit. It's located in Ward 1. Is there anything that we could do to get some street lights back there? There have been like some violence. Someone actually was murdered in this park. And so I would really like to know who I can speak to as far as it being lit. And there used to be a basketball court there. It's no longer a basketball court. And that's some of our residents' concerns. And in addition, oftentimes it's not like cleaned. So it's like trash. So who can I speak to with regard to that?
If you get a chance to send me your information, we can talk one-on-one.
Okay.
Because I don't really know, but I can get you that information.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No problem.
And Mohammed, I believe council member is referring to the Rosa Baldini Park, which is in town, but it's actually MNC PPC property. And so it gets a bit tricky with jurisdictions. If something does occur there, of course we can respond, but technically Park and Planning Police are responsible for that. So we definitely would appreciate your help for Councilmember Rout in following up on the concerns that she shared. And also just with respect to the murder that occurred, because that did happen. Students were cutting class from the high school, hanging out there, and a student ended up being robbed and stabbed and unfortunately passed away. And that was during daytime hours. And so just some sort of regular observance of that area would be helpful, just proactively, working with park police to make sure that it's on their radar. It's not just looked after once we call, but that they, again, can be proactive in monitoring would be really helpful for the community.
Absolutely.
Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, and I don't need a for you to give me a contact on this one here, but also behind the Bladensburg Elementary School. So the field and finding out, who is that Maryland National Capital Park and planning, because I don't think it's not the responsibility of the school, but that field, it's always just riddled with bottles and trash. And I think they used to have a area where they did barbecues and stuff. So it's just, it is a specific route for our young elementary school students to go to school. So just if we can maybe further the conversation, have someone come out, take a look at take some pictures, whatever, and help to kind of not just remediate that problem, but just the upkeep and to make sure that that route is safe for our elementary school students to travel every day.
Okay, I can find out whose job it is to maintain the fields, and I can let them know that that's an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really want to kind of sound the alarm, if I may, because like I said, it's a route that our children and then maybe some of us should really take that route to see just the condition and what they have to see as well when our elementary school students are traveling up that little path every day. Now, even today now to go to school, and it's not the pedestrian bridge. That's fine. Get that lighting, turn it back on, but once they cross the street and to go up that little road. So thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. And did you say it's not Prince George's County Public Schools who owns that stretch right there?
Yeah, from my understanding, is that park back there, because it's a park and it's a soccer field, basketball court. And to my understanding, and I don't know if that has changed or not, and maybe Mr. Reinhardt may know, can shed some light, but that the park right behind the Bladensburg Elementary School.
It is actually owned by school board maintenance, Prince George's County School Board Maintenance. And they've been working over the last couple of years. They're actually going to come in and raise that building that's back there, but that's just been an ongoing process that they have to find funding to be able to come in and raise it and haul the stuff out. But it is owned by Prince George's County School Board.
I'm sorry, when you say raise the building, what do you mean?
I mean, tear down that building that's back there.
Yeah, because and it's just unsafe. So
And we
Because I
can
know-
certain, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry,
Councilor
Chief
Reinhardt.
Collison and myself have been working on that project for probably about 2 years now to get that area just basically cleaned up, better lighting. So it's an ongoing project. We're working with school board maintenance to get that taken care of.
And
Okay.
to Officer Reinhardt's point, it seems like it got worse during the pandemic when school was not in session in terms of becoming a hangout spot. So there have been several emails and calls about it. And we've also brought it to the attention of our school board member. So she's been supportive as well in trying to sound the alarm. So I think we just need to circle back with her and let her know, we need to just keep the progress
Take some
happening.
action.
Yeah.
Take some action.
But as it relates to park and planning, definitely appreciate you, Mr. Sheik, coming on
Yes.
tonight and sharing information. Councilmember Blunt has a question for you.
I see that you do outreach. Do you come into the buildings with health and wellness programs, or if I wanted a special session or something, do we come to the center?
I would be able to bring.
Okay.
I'd be able to bring information. If you have a certain event or gathering that you'd like me to be present at, you can just shoot me an email. I'll share my email in the chat, and I'll check my schedule, and if it works, I'll be able to attend and share that.
Okay, now, would you be bringing like people from the county to, let's say, I have to, I'm an educator, so I have to educate. If I want someone to come and talk to my seniors about safe sex or anything on that, could you bring someone from the health department to speak, or someone in your department would be able to come and speak to my seniors pertaining to death scams, dating scams, and because I really need that right away.
Yeah, if it's a specific request, or a certain topic, I can communicate that with the health and wellness group,
Okay.
and we can set that up for you.
Thank you.
No problem.
That's really helpful to understand that you can act as the intermediary to help connect us to the right agency to get folks out. So we will be bugging you going forward. Just get ready. Again, thank you for joining us, and definitely welcome you to stay on if you, like you said, want to understand how the council meetings flow, to learn a little bit more about the work that we're doing. But again, appreciate your time tonight. Also on appearances, we had a recognition from one of our local business owners, Eloisa Guzman, who is the godmother of Bladensburg. If you didn't know that, I have to question whether you're really a Bladensburger. And so I want to share some special things about Eloisa, mainly that she celebrated 25 years in business just 2 weeks ago in the month of September. And given that we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, who better to just recognize, honor, and thank for bringing her richness to Bladensburg, but also ensuring that we're culturally aware with the events that she organizes year after year, whether it's Cinco de Mayo or Mexican Independence Day, or her work to do vaccination events at her restaurant and offer free food. I mean, she's just an amazing, amazing woman. And for those who may not know, Miss Guzman actually migrated to the States from Pueblo, Mexico, and planted her family in Bladensburg around 1990, purchasing her first home in 1992, and went on to purchase 4 other homes in the community. So definitely a key stakeholder here. She's the recipient of so many recognitions from the Mexican Embassy to other organizations, and has served as a businesswoman, a mentor. She started, if you know Three Brothers, she started out there as a waitress. That was her first job in the community. So to see that she bought a home, started her business, and continued opening up more and more restaurants in the community just shows her dedication. She could have moved to Virginia or, Arundel County, but she's growing her empire right here and bringing her workers and family and everyone around her up with her. So I just wanted to publicly recognize Ms. Guzman. She had some technical difficulties. I know Diane Griffin was trying to help her get connected, and with this weather, it's just been causing a lot of internet instability, as we experienced at the top of this meeting. So we will try to recognize her more formally in a public manner where everyone can celebrate their fellow Bladensburger, but just wanted to give special thanks and recognition to Ms. Guzman, and want to open it up to the council in case they have any comments that they'd like to share. Councilmember Rout.
Yes, I just want to thank Miss Guzman for all that she's done. Definitely giving younger entrepreneurs some encouragement. She's always so passionate as it relates to Mexican independence, and just celebrating just the Hispanic culture, whether a person identifies as Mexican, of course, but she also respects and encourages all the other Latinx ethnicities. And I just want to thank her just for her dedication to our community, especially purchasing a home here and encouraging her family members to come here and purchase homes. So that just speaks a lot. And that's what community is all about, a common unity. So I just want to say thank you.
Great, thank you, Councilmember Rout. Councilmember Brown.
Thanks, Mayor. Yes, I would like to say congratulations as well. Being a long time resident here in Bladensburg, and she and her family have definitely brought many great things here to the town of Bladensburg, and affording opportunities for residents overall. So once again, congratulations as well.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. I totally agree with you and Councilmember Rout. She's an amazing person. And to think that she could achieve 25 years in the restaurant business through the pandemic, that is not short of a miracle. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And just speaks to the respect that the community has for her and the dedication her staff has to her as well, because she is a great boss, a great leader, and treats her staff like family. So we just celebrate her and look forward to being able to recognize her again in a public forum when we're all together in person. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the September 12th regular meeting minutes. So call for a motion to approve.
So move.
Moved by Councilmember Rout. Was there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Blunt. Any discussion or corrections? I did want to offer up on, I believe it was page 2 under new business, where it's titled Changing Regular Town Council Meeting Date in October 2022. It says a motion was made by Councilmember Rout, which was seconded by Councilmember Rout. But it should be Councilmember Blunt for the second one from going back and watching the meeting. So if we could just make that correction. Any other edits? Nope. Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. At this time, we will turn it over for agenda item 7, public comments. Over to you, Mr. Charnovich.
Thank you, Mayor. And I have noted to make that change in the minutes that was just requested. There are no, regarding public comments, there are no public comments that have been submitted this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Charnovich. I think it's because everyone is looking so forward to October 22nd that they are putting all their energy into making this the best 280th birthday we've ever had. So we'll take it as a positive. The next item is, the next agenda item is unfinished business, beginning with MDOT 769C Quincy Street update. So do I toss it to you, Mr. Charnovich, or is that Officer Reinhardt?
You can, to me, Mayor, that works.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Give me one moment, please. So actually, the next 3 items on the agenda for unfinished, A, B, and C, I started something new this month where I provided a written administrative report on these particular items that the council can use and reference. I'll go over what I said for the next 3 items, what's on the paper, so everybody else in the public sees that. But I started this particular document. Hopefully keeps things more concise moving forward, as well as when the eventual town administrator is brought on board. I'm hopeful that it can be used as a tool, organizational tool to help the transition. So for the overall success of the organization, and so he or she knows what all's happening in Bladensburg and what all the important things are. There are certainly many more things happening beyond what's a sheet of paper, but it's a good start. So getting beyond that, now that I did my intro on my administrative document. So Quincy Street. So it was requested that we attempt, that we wanted to get the project done before, I'm sorry, wrong project. Quincy Street is the repurposing of the roadway, the temporary project. So I found out late last week that the Office of Traffic and Safety, their exact quote was, they have approved the temporary repurposing of the road to one way. And they are identifying options to deliver that particular project to the community. We had the end of our last week was a lot was happening towards the end of our last week here in the business week. So I haven't had an opportunity to talk to them beyond that, but I've learned that they've approved that option within their division of traffic and safety. So I guess next steps will be to talk to them on what exactly that means and what the timing of that will look like. But that's very fresh, hot off the presses. And also they have been trying to, they've been suggesting possible grant options to the town. I would presume for a permanent solution in that particular area. And they've said that they've been willing, they're willing to partner with the town on any grant options we would apply for, whether it's the state, county, or whoever, federal government level, whatever that could be with DOT, things like that. And I told them we're interested. So we just need to partner and figure out what grant would best fit that area moving forward. I know, Mayor, you mentioned the Safe Routes to Schools program. I know is out there, and how that could be a possible funding opportunity for that area. But that's the update for that particular item. And I think I'll have more once we can talk with SHA and figure out what that means as far as what the next step is. Any
Okay.
questions?
Any questions
comments?
from the council? Or we'll let you keep rolling on to 57th Avenue.
Oh, sure. I can keep on rolling. So 57th Avenue, the item that I started on the first time for letter A. But so that particular project, we were discussing the concept of completing it before the school year started. And unfortunately, we are obviously not under construction. The school year has started. So it wasn't able to be accomplished by then. But internally, we have done some chatting with Mr. Hall and the engineer and the team about kind of turning that negative maybe into a positive. So we have some grant funds that I think I've reported on before for some safety lighting also on this particular stretch of area. So we have talked with our engineer about the concept of merging the two plans together to complete the work, and also including doing the lighting work kind of simultaneously in a way. So unfortunately, that won't occur over the winter months. So the longer term range plan, as I mentioned in the written report, would be to, time that to where the work gets completed in the first half of next year. So either, ramp things up to where you're just getting ready to get things started right when school is about to let out. So that way you're, rather than us, trying to complete it before school starts, we are having things ready to roll right before school ends for the summer. So I think, and then we would, in the grandiose scheme, complete the road work as well as the lighting work and all that in one fell swoop, and have a great final product and project completed there. So if there are no questions on that one,
Let me
I can
pause. I know
Sure.
one of the questions I have, because I was, as you know, so I won't go into it, but just disappointed this could not be done before the start of the school year. So understanding where we are, wanted to see if you could just share a timeline with the council so we can have greater confidence that these steps are happening in terms of the planning with the engineer. And then this is when we anticipate in 2023 moving forward with breaking ground and so forth. I just want to, as a team, make sure we have that information so we understand the steps and what's happening to help get us to done.
Yeah, certainly, Mayor, I can do that. What I'll do, in fact, is this administrative document that I just referenced. So I'll make a note right now to include the actual breakdown on it as we keep this moving forward. So this particular item, I'll do a timeline for you and how that will all shake out. And I do know that overall general next step is Mr. Hall wanted to meet with the engineer on the site because he had some specific questions about the plans. I'm not even sure if I mentioned that at the beginning, but the engineering plans have been done for this project. Mr. Hall has some questions. So once he can get to the site and meet with them, I can incorporate that into our timeline. But the short answer is yes, I'll do a timeline for you for everyone to take a look at.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And then on to the rain barrels. One of my favorite things, stormwater management. Let's go.
So I obviously, unfortunately couldn't attend the September meetings, but I did watched the meetings and saw that this was is moving forward. So sit between that meeting and today, I am working in tandem. We're going to be doing a pilot program here in Bladensburg. Going to be partnering with the organization that was referenced before, Green Mechanics, who was present at the Boswick House for the event that was held there with the students to install the rain barrels there. We've had a kickoff call with them, and we're going to be doing a partnership on a pilot program with them for a total of around, I think we're going to start slow to get this thing moving. So for those watching, be on the lookout for an announcement that we're going to be working with residents who may want to meet with our partner who specializes in these things to install rain barrels in residential areas in Bladensburg. So we're gonna you gotta crawl before we can walk. So we're gonna start with a pilot program and see where that takes us from there. If you have anything to add, Mayor, feel free.
No, that all sounds great. Thank you. So that completes, I don't see any hands, that completes our unfinished business, and we definitely appreciate those updates, especially providing them to the community to make sure they stay informed on our progress or lack thereof in some cases, and understanding why we are where we are. Councilmember Rout.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Charnovich. Is the Rain Barrel program, is it still going to be no cost for our residents?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I thank you so much for that information.
You're welcome, Councilmember.
Thank you for that question, Councilmember Rout. So with that, we will move into financial business. And for our ARPA funding update, we're going to turn it over to Mr. Tonelli. I know you're probably thinking we just did this 3 weeks ago, but we have had so much activity, particularly under the rental assistance program. So thank you, residents, for applying and taking advantage of this program. But Mr. Tonelli, we'll turn it over to you.
Okay, hey, Rick, can you throw me the screen sharing capabilities, please? What I emailed out today, and sorry it wasn't before that, it's a constant moving target, of course, but our ARPA funding update, and I have a...
It's a no-go, because you don't want the same person keep getting funds to pay rent because they use it as a handle, you know what I mean? So hopefully that's not happening. Of course, you know, I work in a rental office and I know how this stuff works, and you don't want to let them use that as a crutch. You really don't. And the second thing is, I hear all about the rental assistance, but I'm not hearing anything about the nonprofits or the businesses. And we really have to do something for them. I know every time we come on here, we talk about nonprofits, but nothing is being done. I'm not hearing nothing go to them. I'm not hearing anything allocated to them. I'm not hearing anything about nonprofits. I think it's really unfair that they're being overlooked for whatever reason. If you need someone to be on that team, I'm willing to be on that team. But we have to come up with some figures that we can support the nonprofits and the business.
Yeah, the business.
And Councilmember Blunt, I know we haven't moved on it quickly. I think one of the things is just administratively, if we had that grants manager, then from that meeting, we could have had the application put together, the criteria, and push that out to all the businesses. But we have 5 people in our front office, and COVID impacted a month and a half of staffing. And so that's why I was thinking, if we get a temp that can really help, they can be the implementer, getting that application updated, being responsible for getting it out, following up, calling. Did you get the email I sent with the relief for the town of Bladensburg? Do you have any questions? We just need that extra set of hands that can help facilitate that. So you're right, we haven't moved fast enough as we would hope, but it's not for a lack of desire, it's just a lack of human resources in that front office. And when you're trying to do your job, plus the applications coming in, It is a lot, because I'll tell you, I've been there
Right.
and seen them following up with people because you put in your application, but you didn't show proof of residency, and calling and being put on hold trying to get somebody to, come to the phone. It's like, oh, give me 1 second, let me grab Miss Brown. And then, they spend so much time. And even
Yeah,
for one of the
yeah.
residents, again, trying to help with mortgage assistance. I'm talking
Yeah.
hours on the phone with that resident and the mortgage
Yeah.
company trying to get the accounting statement to show what the arrearage is. So it's not always quick in trying to get the information compared to the county. Like I said, they move very swiftly, but sometimes they do have to deal with those situations and hold the hands a little closer, in order to get them there. But I apologize, because you're right. We were hoping by now that support would have been rolling through the nonprofits and
Yeah, and
businesses.
I know, it's just, I mean, and I understand all of that. I'm just hoping the money don't run out. And then, I mean, I'm just saying, we're actually spending money for a project coming. We put $10,000 or $15,000 there, and they still been, as we think of new things and we put the money there,
Right.
they're being overlooked. I'm sorry, but that's just my say. But I understand what you're saying. I understand
but council member, don't forget, you tonight said you would support 2 of our really good nonprofits with support. So that's it's a step in the right direction. Again, I know it's not everything, but it's a step, trying to get there to get those resources out. But I know you're going to hit us over the head every time we come to this meeting and we don't have an update on businesses, and we respect it. Keep on it. That's why we're a team. Your passion, it helps, drive everything forward. So we appreciate it.
And one more thing, the COVID kits, did we purchase new COVID kits? Because I know the other one was outdated. So did we purchase new COVID kits? We haven't.
No.
Because those are outdated, and I know residents that need them. So we got to think about that too. But anyway,
But
I'm done.
should we wait until we take care of the businesses first? I'm just saying. Like, dude.
But it's kind of almost a simultaneous thing. I mean, because the COVID kids, if they're outdated, then I don't know what happens to the outdated kids. I'm sorry, I did see your hand on council member Route. Didn't mean to just jump in.
It's okay. It is outdated. It is outdated. But they have 3 months to use them. So our 3 months are up actually for the ones we have. So they're no good. But don't buy any. I have a contact, Department of Health. You tell me how much we need. They'll deliver it. Do not buy any COVID kits. They have a lot.
Perfect. And I'm hearing the county has a good supply if we need them too. So that way we don't, draw down all your resources, because you may need that go-to for something else. But if we split it, I think we can get what we need, because they're not as in demand as they were when they first were released. So thank you for that resource
as well.
Oh,
they have masks too. So do not buy any.
How soon can we get some? Because we don't have any. Like,
how soon do you need them? I can fill the form out tonight, tomorrow, whatever. I mean,
tomorrow.
It works. It works. They're very fast.
Yes, tomorrow.
Okay, go ahead.
So it sounds like there's support for right. So, Mr. Tonelli, thank you for the funding update. And again, touching on what Councilmember Blunt brought up, I did share with the council a proposal to work with a couple of our nonprofits to provide food assistance to residents for the Thanksgiving holiday. And so under the ARPA update, want to make sure that we, once we get through the ordinance, we also address moving forward with that, because it is over $10,000. And again, it is under the food assistance that the council approved. The total amount for that line item was $20,000 and the proposal is about $12,000. So Mr. Tonelli, do you want to, or Mr. Charnovich, do you want to first open it up for council feedback just on the amount that you're proposing that we do the budget amendment for? I see from the draft ordinance, it's proposing moving $300,000 over. So to the council, want to just get your input on that. I think one, it helps us because what was it? Was it 50,000 we put toward business relief and nonprofits? So perhaps this is another opportunity to pull from this 300. So the majority can go to the housing relief, but we also put some of this, to Councilmember Blunt's point, toward the business assistance and nonprofit assistance. So council, does 300,000 sound too high, just right, too little? Thumbs up.
Mayor,
thumbs
I
down?
think it sounds too little, but just right, you know, not high.
Just for
at
now,
all.
just
Just for now, yeah.
Yeah, because and Councilman Blunt, you and I, we can you know, talk a little and iron a little bit more things out in terms of the businesses, because Mr. Reinhardt, I think you said, were there 158, 168 businesses in Bladensburg? Where'd you go?
Sorry,
Uh-oh.
I cut the video off and hit 179.
179 businesses in there. So thank you. So Councilman Blunt, let's talk, you know, about some things, because that is 179 businesses, and what does that look like? And we can bring something back to the council. But no, to answer your question, I do not think 300,000 is too much.
Okay. And then Councilmember Brown, similar to the postcard mailer that
Yes.
you work with Mr. Jeffries on, would you and Councilmember Blunt be willing to do something like that for the nonprofit, so we could do a targeted mailing and to the businesses in the community?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That sounds good, Councilmember Blunt. Okay. All right. Mr. I don't know whose hand was up first. I'll pick one. Mr. Tonelli.
Our next reporting is through March 31st, and it'd be 300,000. Rich and I talked. I mean, that was coming to Councilmember Brown's point. I think it's a good starting point, but I have a feeling we'll be coming back again to you maybe after the next quarterly update. We can see where we are and everything, and see where the need is. Again, we only help 70 households out of, you know, so it's just something to think about. You know, thankful that you know, and the residents are thankful that you're considering expanding the program, obviously, but just something to think about long term too. It's, you know, just going through all this, I don't want to say it's a drop in the bucket, but you know, it's a lot of need is all I'm saying. So it'll go to very good needs, is what I'm saying. So
Thank you for that, Mr. Tonelli. Mr. Charnovich.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. So I took a lot of notes there. So there were a lot of points I could touch on, but I know we're short on time for the item, so I don't want to go too much into it. So I'll try to be, so forgive my brevity. I wasn't really commenting necessarily on the ordinance part, but I do agree with Mr. Tonelli. The $300,000 is a starting point. We probably, frankly, could probably recommend to go higher with a higher allocation. But like if we're going to review this quarterly or even sooner, we definitely wanted to get something before the council tonight, with our next meeting not being till November 14th. So wanted to do that. That was that. And then a couple other points. So I did actually have 2 phone calls with the temp agency in the early part of September about this exact concept. So I want everybody to be aware of this. And then I contracted COVID. So that unfortunately that threw a major wrench into my thoughts, but I did not get a chance to even talk to Mr. Tonelli about this. So it's cat's out of the bag, Vito. So this has been on the radar, that I can see how frankly our office staff is all coming together for this program. It's been great to see everybody's been helping, contributing what we need to do to help people that need help. So that's great, but we do need extra assistance, and I have started to look into that. I was chatting with the company about what they need in relation to this program and how that would gel with Ms. Davies' role and everybody's role, and how this would all shake out. And I do plan to resurrect that during the first half of this month to get that kind of moving forward. And that would entail the concept of what we just discussed with also the nonprofit sector and things of that nature. I did find, I think I told Mr. Tonelli this briefly, but we've been hate to use the word overrun, but the response with the rental assistance has been huge, and it just has. And we've dedicated a lot of time and energy to that particular part of the program. But I did find a good benchmarking application from a local jurisdiction. I think it might be in Georgia or somewhere, where they're using ARPA funding there for business assistance. And it's a relatively simple application that keeps things, very simple, outlines that you need to be a business within the borders of Bladensburg. So my point is, I found a great application to get us started for the business program, but it's just, and as Mayor James talked about too, it's just one of those things where we were getting moving, but then we just kind of got to a bit of a halt for various reasons in the office. But I'm hopeful that, oh, there it is. Thank you, Mr. Tonelli. So I know I said I'd be brief, and I'm never brief, but there are a few of those irons that are already in the fire, and know that a lot of those points are being actively worked on. And Councilmember Blunt, I took a note about your question you asked, and I want to make sure I got it answered regarding the one-time assistance. So the current policy right now is that we are providing one-time assistance to the resident. Because you raise a good point. Just in a general sense, this is resident A. Let's call somebody resident A out there. This person could, in theory, apply every single month, and that is not my personal vision of how this program was necessary to work. Mr. Tonelli was just expressing about paying forward and things like that with his calls, and that wasn't we really didn't initially envision that, but I know where those are possible ideas in the future to figure out. But to answer your question directly, Councilmember Blunt, it is currently a one-time assistance payment. So hopefully I touched on those items, not briefly. Sorry about that. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. So it is 8:14 and we are well past the 10-minute mark. So with that, Mr. Charnovich, do you want to go ahead and read the draft ordinance for first reading?
Thank you, Mayor. I can do that. Papers all over the place here. So we have an ordinance one of fiscal year 2023, which would be a fiscal year 2023 budget amendment. And it is an ordinance to amend the operating budget of the town of Bladensburg, Maryland for the fiscal year 2023, July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2023. Whereas the town administrator of the town of Bladensburg has made a recommendation to the mayor and town council to amend the FY23 budget to reallocate funds as part of this fiscal year. And whereas the mayor and town council of the town of Bladensburg have determined that it is in the best interest of the town to pass this as a budget amendment ordinance at the November 14th, 2022 next town council meeting next month. Now therefore be it enacted and ordained by the mayor and town council of the town of Bladensburg that the following amendments are made to the general operating budget for fiscal year 2023. Increase community initiatives, $300,000 for ARPA expenditures. Increase intergovernmental federal revenue by $300,000 for ARPA funds transferred in to offset increased expenditures. And be it further resolved and enacted that upon passage of this ordinance shall be authenticated by the signature of the mayor and town clerk and shall be recorded in a book kept for that purpose. In addition, this ordinance shall be published by posting a certified copy of it in the town hall for 10 days following its adoption pursuant to Article 2, Section 209 of the Charter of the town of Bladensburg, Maryland, and will be effective the 14th day of November 2022. That is the first reading of our budget amendment ordinance. Thank you, Mayor.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Charnovich, for that update. Definitely appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who contributed to the discussion and ideas there. Similarly related, under the ARPA funding update, we discussed in the work session supporting, as I mentioned before, food assistance for NOW Foundation No Opportunity Wasted, as well as Victory Grace Center for an annual Thanksgiving distribution. We did get permission from Bladensburg High School to host the event there. And the idea is we would be able to fund Thanksgiving dinners for 400 families in our community. And for those who may not be familiar, VGC has been serving throughout the pandemic with Stand Up and Deliver at the Port Towns Elementary School. Initially, it was weekly, and then it backed off to every other month. That was in partnership with the county executive's office, but the annual Thanksgiving drive is something that they've been doing in our community since 2015. So they have a solid infrastructure of volunteers and relationships with vendors to make the securing of the materials very easy. They have the storage warehouse where they can begin shopping and storing everything until the day of the event, which is proposed for November 19th, the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And so the amount that would be needed is $12,208 to purchase, again, meals for 400 families. So turkeys, cranberry sauce, cake mix, 2 boxes of Jiffy stuffing, 2 cans of corn, 2 cans of green beans, 2 cans of black beans, rice, gravy, and mashed potatoes, and the stovetop stuffing mix. So again, priced out, it's about $30-ish per family. And so would love to be able to support them with the food assistance that the council voted to allocate money towards as we were talking about COVID relief going into the budget planning cycle for FY 2023. So Councilmember Rout did propose that we consider an administrative fee for either both nonprofits or the main one who's dealing with the purchasing and picking up and offloading and onloading the items, just to help cover the cost of renting a truck and gas and so forth. So council member, I just correct anything that I said or anything that you want to add there. And also if there's a specific amount, and I'll incorporate that into the motion as well.
I would like to recommend like $1,500 per organization for the purposes of gas, transportation, because what I'm thinking is that instead of using our staff to deliver, we could ask NOW to deliver the basket. So the other organization, Victory Grace Center, will do the food. And then if NOW could assist with the delivery here in town, then they could provide, I don't want to dictate what they'll do, but the idea is that they can give gas support to their volunteers or whomever to being able to support this initiative. And I think $1,500 for each organization would be sufficient.
That's a great idea, council member, in terms of supporting those who don't have transportation, as we talked about in the council meeting. So I would ask for a motion to approve $1,208 for food assistance, with $1,500 going to NOW Foundation. It's a long motion. $1,500 going to VGC, in addition to the $12,208 to VGC for purchasing the food items. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mayor.
Moved by Councilmember Rout. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any further discussion or edits to the motion?
Yes, please.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
I support the administrative fee, but looking at the level of effort, so I'm not sure how, with the level of efforts being a little different, how that constitutes both receiving the same amount. Because I don't know if you have one who's going out, who's having to do the trucks and storing and all of this pre stuff. I mean, I don't know that it balances out, but I just that's just my thing in terms of looking at the level of effort from an administrative cost. Do we say what that is, or do we kind of get that from the nonprofit organization? So that's just kind of, or is that just what we're capping that to be?
That's good feedback, Councilmember Brown. So I hear the point in terms of equity, who's doing more, you know, which organization may be doing more of the heavy lifting. And I guess as I envisioned it, the heavy lifting is leading up to it, getting everything, you know, moving things back and forth to the warehouse and so forth. But that's not to say that we can't ask Now Foundation to support that.
Right.
And so just to say, our expectation is you're not leaving all the heavy lifting on VGC. We need you to actually support them. If
Run a
they're,
truck.
if they're bringing the items back to their
Mhm.
warehouse, we need you there helping to offload, or maybe to work together on this. And both indications that I've gotten from both organizations is they're happy to partner. So I don't see that being a conflict in saying our expectation as the town is that you'll share the responsibility in organizing
Yes.
the prep leading up to it. So
Right.
we don't put it all on one organization over the other. We want
Right.
we want there to be equity.
Equity there. Yeah, and then with the, with the rental of the trucks and everything. So I mean, I don't know what those costs are. So yeah, and so if that administrative cost, it has to go up a little bit for that initial work, are we open to that?
I would just say let's cap it there, because from VGC's estimate, the most expensive truck, which is the refrigerated one, would be 600. But I would also say perhaps we can say we will reimburse you for administrative costs. If you provide documentation, then we will give that back to you up to this amount, provided you offer receipts. I mean, but Councilmember Rao, it's your motion. So would you be comfortable with that we're authorizing an administrative fee up to the $1,500, provided that they provide sufficient documentation? Or would you just say flat
Mayor J-
1,500?
So I don't know what, I haven't seen their like IRS documents or anything like that. I don't know what they bring in or, get out. Is it for community-based organizations that truly work in the community, even to upfront $1,500 may be a hardship. Nonprofits are not in it to make money or win as it relates to, they're not for profit. So I would strongly just think that we create what our asks is. I don't want to dictate what that looks like. So if it's X amount of volunteers, this is what we expect for you all to be able to preload these trucks and get it done. I just think $1,500 is fair for both entities, as long as we make it equitable. I mean, we can shape what that looks like.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Rao. I think those are all fair points. Councilmember Blunt.
You left off the candy yams and the mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to prepare them.
Yeah.
That is too funny.
That's what you raised your hand for? You raised your hand for that one? Okay.
So, okay, so the motion is on the floor,
That's
but
a
I
good
just want
point.
to make sure we're on the same page. So would Councilmember Brown, based on what Councilmember Rao just shared, sorry, my little light fell. Would you be comfortable just doing the flat rate to both organizations for them? And like you said, we lay out, this is what we're asking in terms of expectations for volunteers, for delivering the food, all these things, just lay it out. And if they agree to do that, then they will receive that administrative fee. $1,500 is truly not a lot of money when you look at gas money, procuring things. Yeah,
Right.
so
a $600 truck that they may have to rent. We may have to get two of those. So one for here, one for
exactly.
That's not a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I think when you said, Mayor, to at least, put a little amendment or addendum there to say that, if I don't know if they go over that $1,500 and they can show, show us where, they incur even more additional
Additional
costs
cost.
that we're,
Okay.
up to, $2,500, or, whatever that amount is. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point. I was kind of like, at least, trying to see where we can give them a little more window there if that administrative cost is a little more than that. That's
Got it. Okay. Any other concerns? Are we all good with what was stated so far? Okay, so it sounds like we're on the same page with the motion and agreeing that we'll add the asterisk to the communication that if administrative costs are above the 1,500, up to, I think I heard 2,000 or 2,500.
2,500. Mhm.
That additional requests for those fundings will need to be accompanied by receipts or just some statement of accounting.
Yes.
All right, all hearts and minds clear? We ready for the vote? All in favor, let it be known by saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you all so much. And to the residents, I look forward to being there to be a blessing to you all with the council and our partners for this event.
Because
Uh,
my back broke last year. I didn't tell
Oh.
y'all, my back was broke.
Really?
We was all hurting in the cold. Remember our hands, and it was frozen.
It was a cold day.
That was
Yeah,
a lot.
it was. But you know what? It's worth it to help the
It
community.
was.
Yeah.
It was
It
a lot.
is.
We need some real help. Some
We
help.
We just
help.
need to get hot chocolate for this
Hot
year. That's all.
chocolate, yes. With marshmallows.
Yes, with marshmallows. All
Hey,
right.
Chief,
So,
where's Lucky? Where's Rocky?
so I'm gonna keep
support
order
dog.
and keep moving through because it's already 8:30. We spent probably 40 minutes
That's
on a
because
10-minute
everybody keeps
agenda
talking.
item.
Keep
So
talking.
at
Hey,
this
Mayor.
time,
Mayor,
sorry.
I'm sorry. I need like 30 more seconds real quick. They got last slide of an ARPA thing. I just
Oh,
want to make the
shoot. I'm
council
sorry.
aware. I'm sorry. It's okay.
Can we just
Hey,
read it later or is it critical for tonight? Because it's 8:30, Mr. Tonight.
Okay.
Last slide.
Real quick. This is from Treasury and rental assistance. Again, I highlighted. Do you all see this? This email from Treasury. They made over 7 million payments under emergency rental assistance, which is great. But also in here, they're saying that they're overwhelmed and they're not going to maintain the current levels of administrative support. What that means is, to me, they said there wasn't going to be any clawback. But to me, this is like saying don't have enough funding to provide administrative support. I'm worried that they are going to look at jurisdictions which aren't spending money when we come up on that March 31st reporting to go back and ask, Congress for funding for administrative support, which has to come from within the program of unspent funds.
Yes. They're gonna ask for some of that money back if we're not spending it.
They said they weren't going to, but this is from the Deputy
Gimme.
Secretary of Treasury. Yeah,
Right.
so it's it's
The
not
obligation.
it's not a good sign.
It's called the obligation, right?
That's exactly what.
Yeah,
it is.
so it's not a good sign. So I just want to make the council aware of that as you're approving more and everything. So that's 30 seconds, 45 seconds. That's all.
No, thank you, Vito, because it is important that we show that we're spending down these resources and they're not just sitting there. So definitely appreciate that. The next item, keep this short. So in the work session, we discussed a candidate search for the town administrator position, and the council agreed to hire an employment firm to help us with securing our next town administrator. And there was agreement to proceed with out of all the bids with the Mercer Group. So I'll call for a motion to enter into a formal agreement with Mercer Group for a town administrator search.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Councilmember Blunt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. So we'll move forward with that ASAP. We don't have any items tonight under new business. For staff reports, are there any burning updates that you all cannot wait to give on code enforcement and town clerk and administrator roles and the police department, or Rocky? Or would you like to forego?
I think Chief is the only one who hasn't
That's-
said anything. I know Chief is sitting there like,
Well, he let me know. Let me know.
Well, man,
I gave a list.
I can forego the report. I just have to make one announcement, and that is we were approved for the state roads permits to put the speed cameras out on Kenworth Avenue and Annapolis Road. So we've been working diligently. We got it done. I gotta give credit to Corporal Harris, who's really been elbow deep in getting this speed camera program moving forward with me. So
Oh, that
do
is
Thank
wanna
you,
get that
Chief.
in.
That's great.
Put that thing
Please-
right by the public
please,
playhouse.
I'm sorry,
Right by
Councilwoman.
the public playhouse.
So the
That's a hot spot right there.
the big concern is with people speeding as children are walking along there to school. And so I know
Yeah.
some people feel like it's all about the money, but it truly is to
No.
keep these kids safe. We have elementary school kids who are trying to cross Annapolis Road, and it's
Yeah.
sometimes like playing chicken, even when they have the sign to walk.
Right
So
away.
Yes.
yeah, so Chief, we really look forward to those moving, and really thank
Keeping
you
the
for your
residents
leadership,
safe,
because it's
period.
not easy to deal with that whole permitting process with State Highway Administration, and it's a lengthy process. So I really appreciate you working with our
Yeah.
vendor and everyone involved to move it along. Are there any other staff reports? Mr. Charnovich, I see your hand.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I do want to say two quick things on a personal level. I know we're getting late. So the first thing is I wanted to publicly say thank you while I was battling my sickness during the month of September. I just want to say thank you to all the kindness I received from all those who reached out to me, Mayor James and anyone else who I heard from while I was out. I really appreciate that. That certainly doesn't go unnoticed when you're working for an organization. And also all my team members in the office who also were all supportive of me and helpful, checking in on me and saying very kind, nice things for me while I was out. And I wish everyone to keep staying healthy out there. That it's I don't get sick very often, and it was a very humbling experience for me. So to go through that. And I just know that your kindness it's certainly noted. Thank you very much. And the last thing that I would say is I don't know if you can see, but I have my pink shirt on tonight, and it's also on a personal level. So in 2006, I lost my mother to cancer many years ago. It wasn't breast cancer, but it was ovarian cancer. But I made a pact back then that I was supporting cancer initiatives is always something that I said I would do in my life. From that moment onward. So I just wanted to say that's wearing my pink tonight and giving a shout out to my mom wherever she is, and to every all women out there who are battling cancer, breast cancer, any cancer, fighting that disease. I just give you all the credit in the world for battling and just keep on fighting. And I just want to say that. So, and I wear your pink this month.
Thank you for that, Mr. Charnovich. The police department has their badges. That's what Chief was showing off there with the pink on it. He had to outshine you literally with the badge. So, but